Tom Ukah, thank you so much for coming on. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Appreciate you being a guest. Much love for your role in The Walking Dead as Weylen. So, yeah, he's a cool character.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. Thank you.
yeah,
Well, glad you all enjoyed it.
yeah. How do you feel about the character at the moment? Like, how are you feeling about having that appearance alongside Jeffrey as well?
Man, it was an incredible feeling getting to work with two actors that I've looked up to for a long time. The entire set and the entire crew were lovely people,
Mm.
incredibly kind. But being right there with Jeffrey and Jelko was just mind-boggling. I had to catch myself a few times and say to myself, "That's Jeffrey Dean Morgan and that's Jelko." So,
Yeah, yeah, I'm
um,
sure. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I'm sure it's
They were
surreal.
incredibly kind and they were humble. They were very laid back about it. It made me feel very comfortable, and that allowed me to um, portray Wayland as he was meant to be portrayed. So yeah,
Mm,
kudos to
mm.
them.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, we'll continue on a bit more with that, but like, how did acting start for you? Like, what was the background in your family? Are they actors as well? Where did the story come from?
No, so I first actor in my family. No one is an
Okay,
actor in my
okay.
family. Originally, I was supposed to be a chemical engineer, but I took
Mm,
a left turn and decided to go into acting. I've just always had an interest in expression, self-expression in an avenue. So,
mm,
um, being in America, I thought to myself that I would like to explore that more. I was born and raised in Nigeria, but even as a kid in Nigeria, I was always involved and excited about learning how
yeah,
filmmaking worked. I was always intrigued about filmmaking. I watched lots of movies, watched lots of international films. So that never left. Now, coming to America and seeing that I had an opportunity to foster it, I gave myself a chance to dream and I
mm,
went into theater, did a couple of theater plays, and after that, I brought back the whole idea of working in film, and I started learning and applying to like short films and working with some amazing people, and then found myself in New York later on,
yeah.
trying to work on shows that people love.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you know New York pretty well now. Then are you living there permanently?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh wow. So you know Manhattan got quite well then.
Say again.
You know Manhattan. You know Manhattan quite well then, don't you?
Quite
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
You never get to know Manhattan in its entirety, but I'm still learning.
Mm,
And yeah, it's a fun place to be. It's a
yeah.
wonderful and cool place to be. Cool people.
Yeah. So did it feel like home when you were sort of filming there then, for The Walking Dead?
Yes. So it felt wonderful being. So we shot that in Boston.
Okay. I thought it
Um,
was there for some reason. It's based around there, I guess.
it's based
Yeah,
around
yeah.
there. It's
Yeah, yeah.
based around there, and it was wonderful because where we shot was made to look entirely like Manhattan.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
it was
Yeah.
very incredibly
I should
trippy for
know
me.
that as an interviewer, really. Yeah, yeah. It's usually filmed somewhere completely different. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it was beautiful to see that because it kept the authenticity to New York
Mm,
while we were somewhere else.
mm.
Yeah.
Wow. So, like, did you expect to land a role so quickly, to be in The Walking Dead? Like, have you achieved sort of what you wanted to achieve by getting this role? Yeah.
Listen, so in this industry, you learn that every job that comes your way is a dream come true. Yeah,
Mm,
especially with the uncertainty that's incredibly, prevalent now. The Walking Dead, however, I've been a massive fan of for a long time, since
mm,
I was a teenager. Yeah, since the original Walking Dead for all of those seasons. So um, I never imagined that I would be able to join the family. However, I
mm,
did imagine that I could portray a character in that world. So when the audition came in, I did it as I did every other character I've auditioned for,
mm.
gave it my best, and I just forgot about it. Only
Yeah.
about 2, 3 months later, I got the call and said, "Hey, took the job." I was incredibly ecstatic and then fearful as
Yeah.
well because I know how much of a franchise this is. I know how much of a fan base this has. I know how much of a following this
Mm.
incredibly
It's like a
huge
cult
franchise.
following, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it became It became a simultaneous feeling of excitement and fear, but
Mm,
I knew that was good because now I could
yeah.
deliver what needed to be delivered.
So you've watched the main shows as well then, being a fan, I
Yes,
take it. Yeah, yeah.
yes,
Wow,
yes.
yeah. Big step into the world. Yeah.
A big step in indeed.
Yeah.
Fearful, very fearful one. But like I said, I was surrounded by wonderful people who made me feel like we were just there to do a job that wasn't hard at all. So,
Mm,
and that's the key to longevity, I believe, finding kind people to
mm.
work with and keeping in touch with them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like watching you in the show is true to what you say as well, and about your character because there's just something so unique about the position you got in that episode. You know what I mean? It was really sort of like remember. I can't speak today. It was really memorable.
Yes.
That episode. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank
yeah,
you. I tried my best to make it as memorable as possible. Uh, uh, I knew that he was close enough to be antagonistic to Negan. Um, so I relied on the fact that Negan was who he was, and I
mm,
needed to be not necessarily an antithesis, but someone who could bring more of what the Negan was that
yeah.
people know to be. So, and with that, Jeffrey was very, very kind to make me remember that the entire time we were shooting.
Mm, mm. Did you
That's what
get
allowed it to be
yeah?
as memorable as possible.
Did you get quite a lot of time with Jeffrey behind the camera, or not really?
Behind the camera, Jeffrey is funny.
Yeah.
Jeffrey is an amazingly kind and funny guy. He's I know he's Negan, but he was always wanting to know more about me, and I
Mm,
appreciated that because coming into the franchise where it's already a very well-oiled machine, everyone just wants to keep going and going and going so we could get things moving along. But Jeffrey taking the time to want to know about me, where I'm from, and know about my trajectory in the industry. That was really wonderful to see. So
mm,
yeah, I did have some time with him. I
yeah.
had some time with him chatting, and after we chatted, we knew we'd have to get back to work, and he's back to Negan, and I'm back to Weyland, and after that, we get back to being chatty again. So that was wonderful to have.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on to your character Weyden, of course, and the
Yeah,
backstory of him, and getting to know your character a bit more. How do you think he originally met the Croat?
I think that he was sort of on the back end of society, having been forgotten. Yeah, and which is why being part of the Croat, he felt a little threatened by the appearance of Negan. Yeah, knowing how important Negan is. Negan, let's not forget, Negan is this very popular character all across the universe. Everyone is known about him. If you No spoilers, but if you've watched, you know, season one, season two, you know that Negan's actions and life precedes him. So him coming to the Croat and me being there, if you notice the way I was looking at him the entire time, it was more like telling him, "You don't have a place here.
Yeah, yeah, it was very cold, wasn't it? It was a very cold,
Yeah, you
brutal
don't have a place
episode.
here because
Mm,
I'm trying to work my way up. I don't care who you are." So I gave it that idea that he felt threatened, that Weyland felt threatened by his appearance. Um, but unfortunately, yeah, no spoilers.
yeah, yeah. Why do you think Wayland chose to side with the Croat though? Because he could have easily, joined forces with Negan. He could have been on Negan's side. He could have easily switched, couldn't he? Yeah.
Yes, potentially because there's been more benefit. Yeah, Negan at the point clearly we could all see that he was still trying to find his plant his feet,
Mm,
right? And with the Croat, Wayland has already gotten some benefits for him and for his people. So um, it made sense to stick with the Croat. Even if it ain't broken, don't fix it. So Negan, who's always still trying to make something happen, it wouldn't have made sense for Wayland to go with Negan.
mm,
What made more sense to Wayland was to eliminate that
yeah,
and continue growing himself through the Croat.
yeah. Of course. I mean, so you believe that Wayland sort of saw the Croat's vision for New York, or was it just for
Yes.
the survival of it though?
He saw the vision. He absolutely saw the vision, and he
Mm,
saw a place for him within that vision.
mm,
That's more important. That's because, and that's also informs us as to why he thought Negan was a threat. Because Negan coming with himself, with with who he is and the bravado of Negan, we could anticipate that Negan was going to come with a whole different vision where possibly Weyland didn't have a place.
Mm. Okay, I mean, who was Wayland? What was Wayland's life like before the fall? Do you think, before the apocalypse?
I like to imagine Weyland was someone who was a kind individual, just going up to daily life without not as much passive until tragedy struck very closely to him, and he was someone who became forgotten in society, and which is why the crew had offered him a safe haven.
Mm.
But with everything that comes, there's always a price to it. Yeah, so I believe Wayland was someone completely different from what you guys saw.
Yeah, yeah. So you think it sounds like you think he was a good person.
Yes, I
Yeah,
believe
before.
so. I believe
Okay.
he was a good person. For someone, that's how I view certain villains. Yeah, we're not all born villains. No one is born a villain.
Mm.
No one is technically born a good person too. We all learn to be good. We all learn to, we all taught to be evil. And unfortunately, certain instances in life shape you to take either of those paths. For someone like Wayland, I imagine something really tragic happened to him.
Mm.
And in a society that was already factioning itself out, it made sense for him to cross the line, the moral border of life, and say, "I'm just going to try to survive in the best way I know how."
Mm.
And the best way I've known how now is through cruelty.
Mm. Okay. It makes sense, but like, what would it have taken for Wayland to sort of betray the Croat? Do you think?
What would it have taken to betray the Croat?
Yeah, yeah, for
If
Wayland
the
to betray him.
if the Croat's vision started to plan out to not involve him and involve a place for him in it,
Okay. And do you think that could happen in the story? What do you think?
possibly
Okay. Okay. What do you think, obviously, apart from zombies, what do you think Wayland's biggest fear is in the apocalypse?
not being seen.
Yeah. Okay.
Not being seen amongst humans. Yeah, because one thing that Dead City is doing so well is that it isn't just emphasizing the fear of the zombies. It's emphasizing the fear of ourselves as human beings, how we interact in a time in apocalyptic times like this. Uh, Frankly saying, we are as beautiful as we are as human beings, we are incredibly flawed. And we never get to see the extent of our flawed nature until something catastrophic happens that way. And in those moments, you find people like Weyland who want to be seen so that they can survive. Survival is requires an amount of visibility.
Mm.
Everyone who wants to survive in a society like this, does it in a way that wants where they want to be seen. And unfortunately, that means not caring so much about the next person or the next neighbor, the next faction of people. It's just you and whoever that can benefit you.
Mm. Okay. If Wayland got offered a second chance from Maggie or Negan, though, do you think he would take it? Do you think he would switch sides if it got offered to him?
If it got offered, it depends on what the offer was.
Yeah. What?
Wayland, in the way that I decided to play him, again, he was someone who not just wanted to be seen, but I believe he wanted to situate himself in in this world. So
Mm.
if the offer from either Negan or Maggie, whoever, made him see that vision for himself where he wasn't just a subordinate, but he was a leader, then yeah.
Okay. Okay. It sounds like a very big need for Wayland to jump into leadership. It sounds like that's what he needs. Yeah.
Especially because again, it ties into his survival.
Yeah.
His survival. Especially as he's seen Negan and how Negan has lived his life. He's seen Croat as how the Croat has lived his life as well. So in this world is it's not hard to imagine that everyone who's coming up is looking forward to situating themselves not as supporters but as leaders because that would inform their longevity in a world that is very very much uncertain.
Mm. Do you think Wayland has done enough to be in the leadership position?
Well, we haven't seen that yet. There's
Yeah.
more to be
Yeah. I
seen
mean, within
yet.
episode three. For now.
In episode 3,
Yeah.
no, there's still more for him to do to
Yeah.
show that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's more
Okay.
for him to do to show that.
Yeah. What would you have liked for your character, like, to grow more? Like, what would you have liked to see him do in the show, in a bit more detail? Like, if you could have a longer story.
Well, perhaps I would have loved to see that, see more as to why he had such a moral clarity in the negative side. What informed him more? I would have loved to see a little bit more backstory about what informed him to be as evil as he was. I mean, a guy who's willing to kill kids is someone that doesn't necessarily think between good and bad. He just thinks one way, and the way he thinks he feels is right. Just to us humans, we believe that is bad. So I would have loved to see what informed that.
Mm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. There's quite a lot for your character that could be said. So
Yeah.
maybe he'll get his own spin-off as well, or you never know. Yeah. If the Croat fell, would you take his place? Would Wayland take the Croat's place if he fell or ran?
If the corrupt fell, would Weyland take
Mm,
his place? Well, that would what would determine that would be the amount of support. Yeah, because the Kurd is a pretty big leader, and for him to fall means that his entire organization fell as well.
mm,
And by falling, by the organization falling as well, would they see Wayland as someone worthy enough to lead that?
yeah. Okay. What would your leadership be like though? Because I mean, you sound like you have your own idea of being a leader and having a group around you. What would yours be like if you could choose?
Right. Well, so when it comes to Wayland, correctly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if Wayland was to lead, it would mostly be to allow people to in his demented mind to be as free as possible, yeah, to explore Manhattan to an extent of just being able to live life without any repercussions. This is why Wayland was probably not right to lead anything, but the way he would see it is that people deserve to explore the extent of humanity. Let's not forget he has crossed the moral line, so he doesn't think in the way of being good. He just thinks in the way of survival. And a huge element to survival is that people don't want to think about being good. They just want to think about what it is they can do to benefit them. So if he was to lead, he would want to give people that ability to think the way he thinks.
Hmm. Yeah. So, what was it like filming in that environment? How did they film the setup? Like, how did they put it together? When you're when you died in that tunnel, like, how was that? What was that environment like?
It was scary.
Was
It
it?
was really
Yeah.
scary. It was absolutely scary. I had to constantly remind myself, wait, you do it. But the setup just looked as you guys saw on TV.
Mm,
It was beautiful as well. Um, the detail um, to the walkers, the detail to like the entire set where we shot. It made it easy for me to get to remain as Wayland and to just continue moving in that world. And kudos to the entire crew for setting it up that way.
mm. Yeah, because the walkers look quite realistic. So it's like, yeah,
Incredibly
yeah.
realistic, incredibly realistic. And all of the stunt guys did amazingly well, sticking to their characters and making it as real as possible. Yeah, because there were cameras all over the place and special effects everywhere. But um, when everybody was dedicated, especially the walkers were dedicated to the job that they were doing, it just made it even more scary.
Mm.
So when you hear me go, when you see me and react to that, that was a real
Real
reaction.
reaction, yeah, yeah. It was pretty dope though. I do love your character. I wish there was
Thank you,
more.
thank you,
Yeah, yeah. I
thank
mean,
you.
who would you have liked more on screen time with?
Well, so listen, everyone does such a great job on that show.
Mm,
Everyone does such an amazing job in that episode. Um, Working with Jeffrey made me want to work more with everybody else. I wish I had had more some scenes with Maggie, if they had written it that way, with Jelko, Logan Kim, who plays
yeah,
Herschel.
yeah. That was a good
He
moment.
was
Yeah.
amazing, amazing. I would have wished I had more scenes with him. Yeah, there's not one person that I could just single out and say, "Oh, I wish I had." more of a chance to spend with them on screen. Just everyone did stellar.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Did you get any advice from, Lauren or Jeffrey, behind the scenes? Did they tell you anything, inspiring to, yeah, for work?
Yeah, one thing I learned from Jeffrey. Yeah, Jeffrey, being as long as he has been in the game, and me coming into this family of The Walking Dead, one thing that I learned from him was his mastery of where the camera was. Yeah,
Okay.
so whenever we were filming particular shots, no matter how far the camera was, he could always tell, and he would, coach me in a way that made me realize where my footing was to be able to honor that camera and to honor the other camera. And that was beautiful because that made the job so much more easier and made it feel natural for the both of us as we were going through scene to scene together.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Sounds like a big professional, in the industry. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
Jeffrey is he's a legend. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he is. Yeah, yeah. What's next for you, Tom? Like, are you working on anything else? Can we expect to see more from you?
Well, yeah, I just finished shooting another TV episode. Can't say much about it, but it comes out next year.
Okay.
And I've got a film that just premiered in Cannes, so that's pretty exciting. When it does come out, I'll be glad to share with everyone.
Well,
And I'm getting ready to head back out of state to go film another feature film.
okay. You gonna do any voiceover work as well? Do you plan on any of
I,
that?
I hope to, yeah, I hope to do some in the
Mm,
future. Personally, I'm working on a personal project of mine for a voiceover
okay.
project, but I hope to do some with anyone who feels that I can do a good job. Yeah,
I'm sure you can.
thank you.
Awesome. Tom, thank you so much. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you, my friend. Thank you.